In this video, we're going to be covering Near Protocol, looking at potential buy areas, TPs for the future in both the USDT and BTC pairs, and also review the TA we did back in the last video on October the 30th. So if you enjoy the content, please do like and consider subscribing to the channel, especially as we're increasing the number of videos we put out per week. So obviously subscribing is the best way to ensure you don't miss any videos. And finally, nothing in this video should constitute as financial advice. So with that all out of the way, let's get into it and take a look at Near Protocol. So had quite a good few months, especially since October, as you can see, topping out at around $4.60 about 3 weeks ago. And in that video back on October 30th, we were all the way back down here at about $1.30. In fact, let's just get down to the daily and just have a look. So October 30th, there you go. We were around about, $1.28, 29, $1.30. And I was talking about it being a significant level to break $1.21, but even more significant was, of course, this level back here at $1.67, because I talked about, if you go back and watch that video, which I'll link at the end, where we'd obviously been in a massive downtrend since the end of 21, start of 2022, making lower highs all along the way. And the first significant break of that structure would be a weekly close above $1.66 or $1.67, which we of course did back in November. So we got that break of structure, as you can see, held it as support, and then off we went. And I talked about wanting to have your bags packed as an investor before we broke that level at $1.67. So down here, back at $1.20, and you can see we even did we come back and retest? Or very slightly, we come back down to about 124. So didn't quite get that retest of 122, but good enough. And as I say, hopefully you got your bags packed before we broke out of $1.67. So in terms of, looking at potential buy areas, maybe you got most of your bags packed but not all of it, or maybe you've not looked at Near before but it suddenly caught your eye because of this rally. In fact, let's just take a look at what that rally was. We got a 373% rally, which was probably one of the best performers out there in the market. We're now currently pulled back a bit, probably about 30% odd. So down to those wicks at $2.93, $2.92. It was about a 37% pullback. From today's prices, still 30% pullback from the top, so not too bad at all. However, I think we may get a slightly deeper pullback down to that around $2.60, $2.70 area. This sort of weekly area of support, as you can see here. And again, as I've talked about in the videos that I've done the last couple of weeks, if BTC from the top has come down about 10+%. Usually BTC gives anywhere between 20 and 30% pullbacks in bull markets. Obviously last bull market we got a 50% pullback, which was huge. So BTC could easily pull back another 10, maybe even 15%, and so alts would obviously get pulled back as well. So more than likely we could see a pullback down to that $2.60 area. Would look very neat and tidy on the charts, however not a guarantee. And in fact, if I just put my cursor on there, you can see, or in fact if I just draw a line here, you can see how well respected this level has been throughout Near's history. Resistance back here January 2021, flipped to support here in May 2021, got under resistance, broke out and went on a big run. Back here, didn't respect it too much here on the November, although I think that was the FTX. So not surprising it didn't respect any technicals there. But then you can see the resistance here all the way through January and February 2023. And then finally, one final tap of resistance here in December before the big breakout candle here on the 18th of December. So big level. I could certainly see this being come back and being retested as support. So in terms of, as I said back in this video back in October, we are much closer to the bottom than we are the top. So definitely worth buying if you want to be an investor in the project. And even here at $3.23, we've pulled back 30%. We may well go lower, but don't hang, don't bet on it 100%. If you've got bags that you want to fill, maybe buy some here and then look to buy lower if we do go lower, because it's certainly not a guarantee. If we just chuck a fib on it very quickly, it's not the cleanest. It doesn't really match up with any level. So you can see there's 618 is a little bit below where we're just talking about, so down to about $2.35. You got the 0.5, which was more or less bounced off of back here at $2.80. So as I say, I do think the best area for a further pullback would be that $2.60 area. So let's take a look at some potential TPs for the future then, taking a look at where I would look to be taking profits along the way. So as per usual, we've got here, I'll reveal them one by one. So, wrong order. Now, in the last video, I spoke about these two levels and basically saying you want to choose one or the other in terms of a TP, because they are very close together, but you can see they are both big levels of support and resistance, and you can see we actually blasted through them on that 18th December candle. Now we've basically come down and we're looking to hold this level as support here about $3.20, and as I say, we blasted through this first one here. So maybe if you took profits at this first area here, which we actually tagged as resistance initially, pull back slightly, and you probably didn't get filled on where you wanted. You probably would have wanted to get filled back here on a retest of $1.67, but if you took profits here, then you can just reinvest them back in right where you bought, or you can hold your nerve and see if we do come back down and retest $2.60. So in terms of the next TP, in my personal opinion, looking at the chart, next big area of resistance is up here at about $5.60. So let's take a look at what a return to those prices would be from today's prices. You're still looking at about anywhere between 70 and 80%, depending on where you actually take it. So this area we've got marked out between about $5.50 and $5.75. You can see a big level of resistance in the past, particularly back here in May and June 22 and August 2022 as well. That is going to be a very big hurdle, and it looks like the next logical resistance as well on this weekly time frame. As you can see, you could argue that we've had the impulse up, we've come down, and we're holding this support here, and that could be the next target. We'll have to wait and see. Next TP up here at $10. Again, you can see big level of support and resistance in the past, specifically a big level of support here in April and May 2022 before the big drop, and that's when we obviously came all the way down to the bottom down here at about $1. So what would a return from today's prices back to there be? You're looking at about 220% up to about $10. So again, still very good gains available even if you were to buy in today. Next one, this big level of resistance and support here back at or all the way up at $13.60 there or thereabouts. You can see big support here when we broke above it back in December and December 21, January 2022. Broke below it, resistance, and then we came back and broke below it back in March and April 2022. Again, going to be a big level for profit taking, I think, slightly front running that big round number of $15. So let's take a look at what a return to those prices would be from here. Still looking at 320%, and then the final two you could probably guess up here where all these wicks are. We only got one candle, weekly candle close above this level of about $17, which was back on the 10th of Jan. Then we got a big drop, and then we came up for a second attempt, but you got 1, 2, 3, 4 weekly candle wicks, failing to get above $17. So again, I think that's going to be a big area to be taking some profit. All the way back up there, you're looking at a return from today's prices of 420%. And then finally to the absolute all-time highs up here at $20, you are looking at, it's going to be about 500 odd percent by the looks of it. Yeah, there you go, 525%. So yeah, it is one of those things you go, well, we're 300 odd percent off the bottom. In fact, we looked at what the peak was. Where are we today from the bottom? We're up 238%. You may think you've missed out, but look, there's still plenty of gains there, and that's just back to all-time highs. We may well surpass it, although returning to all-time highs and surpassing are definitely not a guarantee. But there is a good chance that that could happen. So 520% back to all-time highs, and maybe even beyond that. So as I've said in previous videos, you want to have a plan for taking profits along the way. Don't be that person that holds on and round trips the whole thing. Have some profits to take along the way. And even here, yeah, maybe you took it a bit early, but you can reinvest back in, and that's what you can do. You've got plenty of options when you take profits. Taking profits gives you options. You can take it out as cash, spend it, buy yourself something nice, maybe just put it aside for taxes. You can reinvest in other projects and diversify and essentially have a free bag because you're buying it with profits. Or you can reinvest these profits back in at the low, or back in on the pullbacks as a retest areas of support, like we're doing here. So Always plenty of options when you've got profits, but as I say, you want to have a plan. Doesn't have to follow this. As I say, this is just purely for demonstration purposes or illustration purposes. Even if you took, say, 10% each of these, that's 10, 20, because these two count as one. 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%. You've still got 40% to ride all-time highs, but you've got taken that money out and you've got those profits. But as I say, it doesn't really matter what you decide to do as long as you take those profits. You don't go broke taking profits, and it just gives you options on what to do. As I say, you don't even need to do what I've done here. This is just levels on a chart. You could do something really simple, like every time you double your bag. So maybe say you bought an average price of $1.50, you take some profit at $3, $5, $7, etc. Or maybe you just do big round numbers, so you take some out every $2 or $3 or every $5. Completely up to you. How much you want to take, when you want to take it, is all subjective, down to your needs, your life, etc. But just have a plan. Let's move on then to near BTC, and quickly get rid of those. We'll do them one at a time, and let's just go back and take a look at what I was saying. So where were we on October 30th? Where was price? Wow, all the way back. Wow, all the way back here. Back at the range lows of 3,741 sats. So as I was saying in that video, you really want to when we reclaim this range, got a lovely little retest of the range lows down here at 3770, so could have been a lovely little buy there. And as I said in that video, you want to get all your buying done before we break out of these weekly range highs. And as you can see, we popped out, had a really nice run up to about 10,824 sats. Let's just take a look at what that was from bottom to top. 240% gain on your Bitcoin, not too bad at all. From the range lows, you're looking at 187%, so not too bad at all. In terms of a retracement, what have we done? We've pulled back about 30%. That wick down there is 40%, so again, still not a bad area to be buying in. And in terms of support, maybe we get the retest of the weekly range high. That would be a perfect area to rebuy. You can see it's a big level of support in the past. Even in the last bull market of 2021, we got all the way up to 14,000 sats, came back down, retested that range high as support, and went on a huge run. So we may get that opportunity, but as I say, it's still not a bad price to be buying in now or converting your BTC into near at this point, especially with Ethereum showing some dominance at the moment as well. The ETH BTC chart has done very well since the beginning of the year. So in terms of TP areas, then let's take a look. And the first one, as you can see, we nailed this perfectly. So as I was saying in the USDT pair, this obviously worked out a lot better than the USDT pair, because you could have taken profits here at this area of about 9,200 sats. In fact, I think I remember saying, front running that 10,000 sat level. And as you can see, we've pulled back nicely. So if you took profits here at about 9,250 sats, 18% pullback, not a bad chance to reconvert that Bitcoin back into near, or hold your nerve, see if we do get back to those weekly range highs. In fact, if you took profits there and we got back to the weekly range highs, you're looking at 35% gain on your position there. Not too bad at all. So as I say, it does work most of the time, but sometimes things do move and blast through technical areas, depending on volume and FOMO and all that sort of stuff. So let's take a look at the next area, which is all the way up here at 22,000 sats. In fact, have I got that the right way around? I have. Okay. Big area there. But that being said, we have seen price move pretty quickly in between these two areas before. So a return to that area from today's price, well, from the first area, you're looking at a 22% gain. So if you reconverted those profits back in, but from here all the way up to that TP2 of 22,000 sats, you're looking at 190% return on your Bitcoin. Not too bad at all. As I say, price could move pretty fast between 10,000 and 20,000 sats, as it has done in the past. TP3 then, slightly higher here at 30,000 sats. Again, nice big round number. You can see big level of resistance and support in the past. Let's take a look at what a return from these prices would look like. 300%, not too bad at all. And then finally, the last two TPs, you can probably guess, or you probably saw them earlier anyway, but these again, similar to the USDT pair, we've only had one weekly candle close above this 40,000 sats area, and then these big 3 wicks in April. So it's going to be a big profit taking area, I think, in the BTC pair. And you're looking at a 430% return from this point here all the way back up to there without any further retracements. And then finally, the absolute all-time highs, 47,000 sats. From today's prices, you're still looking at a return of 520% on your Bitcoin, which is huge. So as I say, even though we are, a fair bit off the bottom, what are we off the bottom? 138%. We've still got plenty of room to run. We're still much closer to the bottom than the top. So don't be afraid of converting some Bitcoin here. As I say, you don't want to probably go all in. We could see Bitcoin dominance take a big dive, and ETH BTC have a run, and the rest of the alts against their BTC pairs have a run. Maybe we get that retest of the weekly range high, but as I say, if we do get that, I think that'd be a fantastic buying opportunity. So maybe dollar cost average between here and the weekly range highs shouldn't go too far wrong. One final word of warning: we've talked about taking profits, and as I say, this is the example I use every time, so apologies if you've seen it before. But ADA BTC is a classic example of where you don't want to take it for granted that we will get back to all-time highs or even surpass them. If you take a look at this, ADA BTC back in January 2018 topped out at 8,700 sats. In the last cycle, we only topped out 6,000 sats. Don't be that person that buys all the way down here, in 500 sats, rides it all the way to 6,000 sats, doesn't take any profits, and then pretty much round trips it all the way back down to 800 sats. So take profits along the way. As I said many times earlier, it gives you options, and there's plenty of things you can do with those profits, and you don't go broke taking profits. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, as I said at the beginning, please do like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. Helps us grow. Also, drop in the comments what you think of NEAR, when you bought, what your plans are, where you're going to take profit, all that good stuff. And also let us know any suggestions for videos you'd like to see on the channel. But for now, enjoy, and I'll catch you on the next one.